Well, I would imagine it was an understanding, but you know, when you're tucked down in that car, your seat belts are tightened down, it's very difficult to get your hand up in there. It's probably not an easy signal to do, but he was probably giving him a thumbs up.
You know, I was going to ask you just that, Danny. What's it like to stick your hand up into the airstream at 200 miles an hour as Villeneuve comes in?
Well, it just about tries to jerk it off. If you put your hand out the window of a car, you know what it feels like. Try that at 230 miles an hour.
Here's Gary.
It's going to be very close. We just checked with the engineer, the man who calculates the fuel, Tony Sakali, as the Forsyth Green goes to work. What a day they've had. It'll take 33 laps on this tank of fuel, and he says it's going to be very, very close to make it to the finish. This is the team that won the Miller Pit Stop competition. We've got him away with a full load of fuel and 33 laps to go.
16.4 seconds, and the young rookie is out and back to racing.
And we've got Al Unser coming into the pits. We've got Al Jr. coming into the pits.
He gets his speed down under control, the second of the Penske cars.
And remember, gentlemen, we told you earlier in the race that he was having intermittent trouble with his radio, so he has to revert to hand signals. As our Buck and the crew, Jerry Breon, the rest of them waiting, as Al Sr. looks, and he points to let them know that he wants some turns taken out of the front wing. He says the car is a little bit loose, so let's look to see if they will make that adjustment. There we go, we've made the adjustment. They dropped the jack. They need to take the full load of 40 gallons of methanol. The vent man signals, and they are away in 17.3 seconds, and he stalls the car once again.
Okay, now here's what's happened. They actually put wing into the front end of little Al's car. So that means he's been pushing. They tightened the front end up. That was a fairly good adjustment that they made.
Bobby, I think that's the reason why he's been having trouble in traffic. He's got too much push. He gets in that air. It gets a little bit disturbed, takes it off the front, and he can't chase the throttle as early as he wants to and pass the cars. He needs a little bit more wing.
You got a glimpse there of Villeneuve as he dialed around on the outside.
Bobby, also, if we do our fuel calculations right, Al Jr. still has to make another stop, doesn't he, for splash and a little splash of fuel.
Both little Al and Emma will definitely have to make another stop. It's so questionable with Villeneuve. That's going to be the story for the end of the race.
Well, let's go down into the pits and try and find out exactly what the calculations of the teams might be. We'll begin with Jack Arute, who feels, I think, the Penske cars are going to have to stop again.
Paul, not only are they going to have to stop again, they are going to maybe roll the dice, at least as is the case with Emerson Fittipaldi. They have been discussing on the radio with Emo as to whether he could go the distance with the same set of tires that he has on right now. The question was asked quite simply, can you do it with 6 laps? It was garbled, the answer back. They're discussing it right now. Let's check in with Gary Gerould.
Well, Bobby Rahal, a lap down to the leaders, has now moved up to 3rd on the pylon in the scoring. He's ready now for his final pit stop of the day, and we await with the team looking for the nose of the car. Now, Villeneuve's crew has already said they think it's going to be very, very dicey. We know they've got to go 33 laps. They need yellow to get a break. Here's Rahal now, and this Rahal-Hogan team that started so far back today from the 10th row, trying to make their mark. He came with Honda. He's here now in a Penske chassis with Ilmore power. He's been a dark horse. He still thinks he's in the hunt. They're getting all the fuel. And now Bobby Rahal is clear in 17.6 seconds.
So Bobby Rahal back into the fight at Indianapolis. 171 laps are complete and has the makings of an incredible finish in the 78-500. Emerson Fittipaldi looking for 2 in a row in his 3rd Indianapolis 500 win. The closing laps always tell the story at Indianapolis. In 2nd place is Al Unser Jr. Jacques Villeneuve runs in 3rd place. Robbie Gordon, and then Michael Andretti.
You know, Paul, something that I've noticed since Emerson's pit stop is this is the most I've ever seen him running down on the little rumble strips. I'm not so sure that this set of tires, the car is working quite as good as it was previously.
As we watch the line of the cars, there you saw Fittipaldi dropping way down onto the rumble strip, then conservative off the corner. His wife Teresa watches on, and it looks like he's adding almost a second a lap to his lead in this race, Danny.
Well, appears that way. Now, maybe Penske's gone with the strategy for Little Al that if we back off just a little bit, we can go the distance there and make up that while Emerson makes his pit stop.
Danny, I don't think that's the way. I really just don't think Little Al is handling as good as Emo. But you watch Emo, he runs clear down almost to the grass. Sometimes when he goes by you, I can hear him going across the rumble strips. It sounds like a dull siren going. That means the track is slippery, but he's handling good and found the driest place to run.
His favorite word is beautiful, and things are certainly going beautifully for him right now.
He's driven a great race so far. But I tell you, the question that you all asked earlier on about Emerson, can you stay with that set of tires for that sixth lap? They don't want to take a chance of changing 4 tires and cross-threading a nut or screwing it up in any possible way. They want to splash the fuel in and let him go.
So the run is static at the moment, but everything in Indianapolis tends to happen in the last 20 laps. We'll go away for these messages, and then we'll be back to run to the end. Fittipaldi is the sole occupant of the lead by a full lap, a full 2.5 miles.
And what this means, Paul, is that the most Emo would lose like on a real quick splash stop is about a half a lap. So Emo's in the best position.
Yeah, but look at this, Bobby. Look at this. Here's Little Al and Emerson. The Penske car is drag racing into the corner.
And remember what happened here in 1989 when Emerson had been leading and Al came up from behind. They touched with a lap and a quarter to go over in turn 3. And after that big accident, which put Al into the wall and Emerson into victory circle, Little Al came out and gave Emerson a big thumbs up. He bore him no ill will for what happened. And now they're teammates. And I think that cementing of that relationship then is key to what's happening right now.
Sam,
18 laps to go.
He certainly woke him up. That's for certain sure. You can see that.
Yeah, but Bobby, I think that's great racing, and that shows the competitiveness of Little Al. He knows that the only chance he stands is he's got to stay on that lead lap. He cannot go a lap down.
You know, to these drivers, winning is really the only thing.
Bobby,
right,
they only would put one person on that winner's podium.
What's the strategy now? Let's go to Jack.
Well, Paul, it's beginning to develop. There's a set of computers in both pits. They can read each other's vital information. This is Emerson Fittipaldi's computer. They know that Little Al could maybe stretch the fuel mileage if he conserves fuel. The window's about 2 laps. For Emerson Fittipaldi, this will be the most important device all day. This is the stick that they'll tap the fuel man with as they take their time stop about lap 194. This is the stick right here, gentlemen.
Well, of course, if Little Al was conserving fuel, Jack, he should be drafting Emerson Fittipaldi, not leading him.
But Sam, the idea there is,
Oh, that's Emerson.
Yellow comes out.
That's Emerson.
and I just started to say, the problem is he can't afford to be down a lap and have something like this happen. He's got to be ahead, and that's the way it turned out.
As we suggested, within the last 20 laps, the last 50 miles, and Emerson Fittipaldi brushes the wall on lap 184.
You should hear the crowd.
Down here in turn 2, everybody is standing up, literally every person.
The same in turn 4. Of course, it happened right here in turn 4. I couldn't believe it. He just got a little bit loose.
Let's watch it. Oh, boy. They had the race locked up.
The rear end just jumped right out from under it. He had to correct it right into the wall.
Danny, you were watching it.
I was sitting there watching that. I'm not so sure the air wasn't disturbed. I think he wanted to make a run a little bit at Little Al. He looked like he wanted to go back and try to pass him, and he just lost it.
So Emerson Fittipaldi is out. One more replay for you.
You know, I have to say that there's a real good chance that he had a sudden puncture in the right rear. You watch that car. It didn't let loose gradually. It let loose just really quick.
Really quick. And you know, Bobby, his angle didn't look bad. It didn't look like he got down on the apron or anything. It just looked
Absolutely
like
not. Danny,
all of a sudden went wrong.
I think he really had a puncture in the tire. Something that happened really quick because you could watch him feeding that front end to it. So he obviously felt something very sudden.
The 6th yellow of the day for the leader of the race. In that instant, Emerson Fittipaldi's $1 million and 3rd Indy win go out the window. There's Fittipaldi. He walks back now after lap at 200 miles an hour. Teresa already heading back toward the garage area. She's only worried about her husband. Arie Luyendyk pulls to the inside. He's apparently out of the race. Indication is the motor's gone on Luyendyk's car. He started with 3. Now Penske is left just with Al Unser Jr., but he's left with the leader of the race. So little Al alone on his lap now.
With 15 laps to go.
And keep in mind now strategies have changed. A yellow has happened. We're going to have to get on top of that real quick.
Bobby and Danny, let's consider now the situation we're going to watch in very slow motion first. One more replay of Fittipaldi's situation. Danny, you were right above it.
Yes, I was looking at it. I did not see anything wrong, but then I just saw the back end of the car start to slide. You can see there Emerson corrects it. The front turns. He lets it go a little bit, and the back goes. I agree with Bobby. I'm not so sure that something wasn't wrong there. That was very uncharacteristic. Emerson's too experienced to make a mistake this late in the race while leading.
Another shot of it. The moment that may have decided the 78th Indianapolis 500. Chasing Al Unser Jr., but leading the race.
You know, another real slight possibility, Paul, is when we watch it down here in turn 2 on the television, it looks like maybe some fluid was spraying out underneath the back end. I'm not saying for sure, but it looks like a possibility to me.
Well, Bobby, let's explore that further. You're saying fluid out of the back end of Emerson Fittipaldi's car. Does that then mean that we are also looking at a potential Mercedes engine problem?
No, not true at all. There was no engine explosions, blowing, or anything like that. Could be a radiator, could be a hose that let go if that was the case.
Here's Jack down in the Penske pits.
Well, Paul, we continue to have radio problems. I'm going to try and get the camera so you can see Roger Penske has grabbed literally an old blackboard. He wants to find out if fuel is okay. He has relayed that by one blackboard to the blackboard man directly across his pit, and he is going to signal that to Al Unser Jr.
Yeah, but Jack, is that message that it is okay, or is he asking, is it okay?
Well, we're being moved out of the pit here. We've got some people that are moving us out. I'll try and find out from Rick Mears.
That means that it is okay. It means that it is okay. That's what they're telling little Al.
Al does not have the radio. Don't forget that their telemetry is telling them in the pits how much fuel's left in that car. They're just letting him know, you're okay, you're okay. You've got plenty of fuel. My only concern in this whole thing would be that he picked up any debris.
Okay, we've got it, guys. The next signal was P2, plus 14 laps. Danny?
14 seconds. In other words, he's got Villeneuve that's back. Isn't that what he's telling Jack? Position 2 is in 14 seconds back is what he's saying.
No, I think what he's saying is position 2 is 14 cars back. On the line, he's 14 cars back behind him.
That's it exactly. Behind the pace car, position 2 is 14 back, which puts him on the leader lap. Let's go to Gary.
Well, that's the key, Paul. The fact that Villeneuve is now on the leader lap. Barry Green, co-owner with Jerry Forsythe. This is a huge break for you. Not only moves you to second, it puts you somewhat in contention. But can you make up those cars that separate you and Al Unser Jr.?
No, it'd be real tough, Gary. I mean, let's face it, you know, the Penske cars are playing